Not all probiotics are created equal. New Purina Systemic Supplement remains live and active after the pelleting process and throughout the digestive system, making it all the way to the hind gut. Systemic was designed to support normal recovery after exercise and occasional gastrointestinal stress. Whether you're using a probiotic now or not, it's time to use a live and active supplement from a name you trust. Visit mq.purinamills.com to try Purina Systemic Probiotic Supplement today.
You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1579, brought to you today by MyNewHorse. Today's tip is an excerpt from the monthly Mary Kitzmiller training episode on Horses in the Morning, and this time Mary answers a listener question about helping spooky or distracted horses be, well, less spooky and distracted.
For first-time horse owners and new riders, finding the information and support you need can be challenging. That's why Equine Network has partnered with Sentinel and Absorbine to bring you MyNewHorse. From important horsekeeping information and how-to videos to social media communities, exclusive experiences, and more, MyNewHorse is your one-stop shop for riders of all levels and disciplines looking for easy-to-understand horse care information and guidance. Start your horse ownership journey today. Visit MyNewHorse.com.
And speaking of fascinating stuff, we've got our first listener question. Who's it from, and what's the question, Mary?
This is from Rachel, and it, of course, relates a little bit to our training tip. And she wants to know how to get watchy baby horses to pay attention to you instead of everything else. And she says, unless you've already answered that. And actually, I do talk about this about once every show because it is so important, and it's the foundation of my program. So again, most of the time when we realize that this is an issue is when we're in the scary environment. So like I brought Remy to the first horse show of the year. So I know that he's going to be a little goofy for the first day. And when he was much younger, he was a lot goofy for the first day. And you realize, oh, I can't get his attention back on me. It's because, things are way more stressful right now. So that's usually when we notice that there's an issue. And so when that happens, I just try my best to survive, but that's not where I'm going to fix the issue. Where I'm going to fix the issue is at home on our home base in our arena where things are nice and comfy, and he is paying attention, but I need to actually teach him, I need to almost put a cue on it of, hey, look at me right now, and get him back down to earth. Because if the horse is paying attention to me, it's less likely to turn into something dangerous. So again, this is about practicing this hundreds of times at home when you don't think you need to work on it, so that when you have the scary thing happen, the horse reverts back to their training. So it's not uncommon with baby horses to look around and be distracted, and they want to be with their friends. And I get this issue with Mustangs a lot. When you first get a wild Mustang in training and you first put them in your facility, they don't know what normal is anymore. They are looking for help. And of course, they don't tend to want to look at you for help initially. So the very first thing I teach the horse is the best thing in the whole world is to put your attention on me. Everything will be okay if you put your attention on me. There's several ways I get this done. The easiest way, especially if the horse is not halter broke, is in a smaller pen, like a round pen. And I teach that horse, wherever I am in this round pen, you look at me. There's a lot of different ways to get that done. What I will do is I will kind of put my hands in front of me and ask the horse to look at me. And if they don't, if it's a really sensitive horse, I can clap my hands and they'll go, whoa, oh my gosh, you just made a noise. And they'll look at me because that whatever I did just became more interesting than anything else that's going on. And as soon as they look at me, then I become very passive with my body language. I will back up, I'll kind of slump my shoulders, I'll turn away from the horse, I'll lower my head, and I just let the horse just look at me and take a break. Now, most horses, if they're pretty wild and pretty fresh, they're going to look away from me immediately after a few moments. So I'll do it again. So with a wild Mustang or a really sensitive horse, something as simple as a clap or even like me kind of shrugging my shoulders really quick is enough to get them to look at me. For your more domesticated horses that are used to you, they tend to kind of ignore us a little bit. They're like, I already know what you're about. There's something way cooler going on at this end of the arena, and I'm going to look over there. When that happens, I have to do whatever it takes to become way more interesting than what's going on. So when I do this in the round pen off lead, I might shuffle in the dirt. I might I've jumped up and down and done jumping jacks before. If the horse is kind of moving off around the round pen, I'll step in their path. And if they stop and look, anytime they flick an ear toward me, they look at me, I completely go passive, turn away, I'll back up several steps, and I'll just keep doing that over and over and over again. Get them to look at me, release pressure, look at me, release pressure, look at me, release pressure, until they realize, okay, I better just keep my eyes on this person because they turn into a wacky person when I take my eyes off of them. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on this person, and that's the starting point. I You can absolutely do this with the halter on them, and it's as simple as I just tip their nose toward me. Every time you look away, I tip your nose toward me, and then I release when you look at me. I want when they put their attention on me, I want them to feel no pressure whatsoever. I want them to feel relief. If it's a more domesticated horse, maybe a horse that's kind of a more clicker savvy, it's a good time to click and treat. If they're extremely distracted, you might want to be careful with that because I don't want them to be muggy and not paying proper attention. But I just want to make them putting their attention on me the best thing in the whole world. And just like with the one rain stops, I do this hundreds of billions of times. You can't do it enough. This is one of those great exercises where you're not going to wear your horse out on this. This isn't going to, it's not like loping circles or something where, after a while you're going to run out of horse. I do this 4,000 times a day. I just tell that horse, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I get it to where if I go in their stall, they look at me. If I go into the pasture, they look at me. If they go in the arena, they look at me. From there, I'll start moving around and say, okay, I'm going to walk off a couple of steps. You better keep your eyes on me. And I do the same thing. If I kind of walk off to the side and I lose that connection, I might clap my hands again, shuffle in the dirt. I might have to kind of cut them off back and forth. They're running away. But every time they face me, I release, release, release pressure. And again, you could do the same thing with the halter and lead rope where you just tip their nose towards you and you're just constantly reminding them, eyes here, keep looking at me, keep looking at me. Why is it important for them to keep their eyes on me? Well, if a horse is facing me and they've got their eyes on me, I can hang on to them. Um, the most they can do if they've got their eyes on me, they can run sideways. I can keep up with them if they're running sideways, or they could run backwards. I can keep up if they're running backwards. If they have turned away from me and then proceed to freak out, it becomes much more difficult to hang on to that horse. So anytime I sense my horse is in a heightened situation, I just go, hey, focus, look at me. And this is the same thing I do with my dog Echo, who I just said focus and she came running up to the couch. I teach my dog Echo the word focus because she's very reactive, very energetic. If she sees a squirrel, her brain just turns to mush. So anytime we're on a walk, I go, Echo, focus. And I get her to look at me and I reward her for that. You can do the exact same thing with a horse. So that's where I would start with that. There's more to it and you can advance it, but um, I think you'll get a lot of results if you just constantly check in with your babies and say, hey, don't look over there, look at me.
There we go. And I think something that we need to be aware of because I've made all these mistakes and it's like, oh, that was a mistake. I didn't realize it at the time. If you have to continuously increase the volume of your request, look at me. They look at you. They look away. You have to say, look at me again. But you have to increase the volume, increase the volume, increase the volume. Increase the aids is the same thing. Then something's not working right. You need to get some help with it. See this all the time. You have a horse that is dull to the aids. Well, you're basically teaching an aid. You're teaching a skill, but you teach your horse to look at you. But 6 months later, if you walk into their stall and they have a pile of hay in front of them, you have to jump up and down and throw a lead rope at them to get them to look at you, versus at the beginning of the whole process, all you had to do was clap your hands twice and they'd look at you. Something is going a little bit wrong, and probably having somebody help you that can actually watch the process, either in person or through a video lesson, is going to be a good investment.
The important factor with this, the thing that's actually going to teach them that looking at you is a good idea, is the release and how pleasant you make it once they focus on you. So if I get the horse's attention on me, but I'm still really tense and I'm pulling on that lead rope and I'm still real busy, they're like, I don't really want to put my attention on you. You're kind of freaking me out, man. I practice this so much with Mustangs, to the point that it becomes the safe place for them, to the point of, when I'm leading the Mustang out in the open for the first time and something spooks them, they might spook in place, but then they immediately turn to me, because I've told them over and over and over again, if you're ever scared, look at me, wait for further instruction. I'm going to get you out of this. And that is such a nice problem to have. Of the horse goes, oh my gosh, that was really scary. What do you think we should do? I'm like, okay, great. Because I can't make them not scared. I can't make them not want to look at their surroundings and call out to their buddies. But, I can't, make that happen 100% of the time. But what I can do is give them a protocol of, if you're ever unsure, if you're ever scared, you don't know what to do, put your focus on me and I'm going to help you through it.
Well, there you have it. Horse Radio Network has thousands of engaging podcasts for horse people, and you can have them sent right to your phone. Just subscribe via your favorite podcast player. This is Coach Jen, and I will be back again soon with another tip. Until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.